Welcome to this episode of Consider It Blacklit. For those of you joining us for the first time, Consider It Blacklit highlights films, television programs, and stage plays that feature African Americans both up front and behind the scenes. We also discuss social issues as it relates to some of these programs and how they may or may not impact our communities. So thank you for tuning in, and we hope you continue to tune in each week. Today it is my pleasure to highlight the off-Broadway musical play, Sistas. It follows 5 women who prepare for the burial of the matriarch of the family. They discuss family history as well as the history of African American women. They do it through songs that span the generations.
God, I miss her, Gloria.
After the passing of their grandmother, 5 women come together to share their grandmother's memories.
If you dig hard enough, you will learn a lot about your great-grandmother.
Happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Grandma Alice could have given some stories to that white woman who wrote the helm.
And don't forget what I always told you. Don't sweat the small stuff. Remember, it's all small stuff.
And to pick a song to honor their grandmother's legacy, they discover the pain they have overcome and the cultural hardships of African American women through music.
So tired of this downer talk and all these downer songs.
You know what we could use? More Jesus. That's what we could use.
With songs like Single Ladies, A Woman's Worth, I Have Nothing, Respect, Stop in the Name of Love, and many, many more, this uplifting musical journey shows the laughter, tears, and accomplishments of these women in Sistas.
I'm happy to be on the set with the writer and the cast. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So before we start talking about the play, why don't each of you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your relationship to the play?
My name is Dorothy Marsick, and I'm the writer. And I did a lot of research to prepare for this. I also have another show called This One's for the Girls in off-Broadway also, but most of my career spent as a management professor, and I teach at also at Columbia University. And it was because of the research skills I got being in academics that I think I was able to do this.
Oh, great.
I'm Tyla Collier. I play Tamika, and I'm from Rhode Island and a graduate of the Boston Conservatory, studied musical theater.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Kendra Lucas. I play Dr. Simone. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm brand new to New York. I've only been here for about a year and a half, and I'm super excited to be here with my sisters.
Hi, I'm Anissa Folds. I'm a New York native, and I graduated from the Hart School of Music, Dance, and Theater, and I play Gloria.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Brittany Farrow. I joined the cast just about a month ago, and I'm loving it. I'm a graduate of Western Michigan University, and I've been in New York for about 2 years.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Misha Ward. I play Roberta. I've been a part of this production for about 3 years, and I'm originally from Florida.
Oh, great, great. So tell us, how long has this particular production been going on?
It's been playing here in New York City over 7 years.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I really love the play. I love the music, and there were a lot of touching moments, and some of the scenes touched me in a personal way. So I'm going to ask. I'll start with Tyla. Is there anything that happened in your personal life that you brought to the character to bring it to life?
I definitely would say Tamika's bond with her mom, Simone, is very strong, and my bond with my mom is really strong. We are really, really close, so I think for me it's just important to, kind of bring that through, and Kendra and I get along really well.
I know, you guys definitely have chemistry. Great. What about you, Kendra?
Grandma Alice is the name of our grandmother in the show, and so much. I just lost my grandma probably a couple of years ago, and there's a lot about her. Even just the photo that we use that is so similar. And our grandmother Alice in the show passed away when she was 92. My grandmother was 93, and she was the matriarch of our family as well. And just some of the stories that we tell, and even in the vernacular that Dorothy has written and the way we tell it, so much of it reminds me of her. And even the way I interact with my sisters, watching the way that my mom interacts with her sisters, because she has 2 sisters as well, it just all hits really close to home, every single bit of it. Yeah.
I'd say that I bring our relationships off stage, on stage. So yeah, because
I heard you guys off stage.
Listen, we have fun, and it's just coming to work and to work with these people, a lot of times, like no matter what I'm going through in life, it feels like therapy sometimes, and the audience is a huge part of that as well. And it's really just connecting with everyone, and yeah, I love that.
Okay. Brittany?
Obviously, I'm the white girl of the show. But there's definitely things that I bring, like even the music. I grew up listening to this music, but I never in a million years thought I would be able to perform it on stage. So I'm really grateful to bring that part of me, and especially like the 90s R&B tunes, totally my jam. Like Tyrone, I'm there for it.
Oh, you guys killed it on that one.
Yeah, but on a more serious note, growing up and seeing how people were raised in my family, there were just different attitudes, and this show has taught me to listen, and no matter what you think your story might be, others' stories are equally as important, and you need to open your ears and listen and have empathy. So
I like to say that this show is my aunt's. It really is. The first time I saw the show to the first time that I was in the show, this show, I can, each character is an aunt of mine, each one. So that's, for me, that's always been what I have brought into it, is just anytime I go home or family reunion, like I said, I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like I'm at work. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm acting out my entire weekend right now in front of me every single time.
So I noticed tonight's performance that I attended, it was mostly African American, and I noticed when I go on Broadway, there's not that many African Americans in the audience. What makes this show different, in your opinion, from some of the other productions that really kind of draws the people of color to this production?
I think I don't think that it's different as much as it is immediately playable and immediately relatable and immediately cathartic in a lot of ways for people of color in general. It is hard to find things that are immediately relatable. And this is, you know, for little girls that come in. Tyler had a great moment last weekend. There was a little girl who was like, 14, 15, who just was like, wanted to be an actor. And like, I mean, that girl looks like me on stage, and that's the part I think is probably the most relatable, is that, oh, they look like me.
Right.
They sound like me. And, in this day and age where there's more and more of that, it's still not the most prevalent. It's not the first.
Right.
So that's my opinion on that.
I'd say the show is for us. It's for that audience. We play to that audience. Every single day when I sing, I think for me, the song that gets me is I'm Not My Hair, because I see the audience reactions, and you see the stories of little girls being thrown out of school because they have braids.
True.
I'm not my hair. You see the little girl, you see people in the army that can't wear locks or wear their hair a certain way because of the rules. And also just the fact that, as I said before, the audience is such a part of our performance. It gives us energy, and the way that we show up to theaters is different. The people in the audience are so unapologetically themselves and allow themselves to be free and allow themselves to react in a way that a lot of people don't react in Broadway shows.
One thing I liked about the show is the diversity in music, but they all were representative of women of color and the things they've gone through the years. And it just kind of highlighted the diversity in our music, but we all get the same message from it. So my question to you is, what was the process in terms of getting licensing for, because you had stuff from Billie Holiday to Beyonce to India Arie to Erykah Badu. I mean, what was the process of getting that license for the show?
It's difficult. I think people sometimes come and go, oh, I could write a musical like that. And I go, you probably could, but can you get licensing for the songs?
Right.
It takes about a year of a lot of work. When I first started out, the previous show was Respect, this one's for the girls. I didn't have the money to hire a lawyer, so I had to train myself. I had to learn how to do it, and now I know how to do it, and I've got somebody else trained to help me with it. But some songs have 4 publishers. You have to go to, and you have to figure out who the publishers are, by the way. There's no easy way to know that. And then you have to go to each of them and get all these deals and the arrangements. And if, for example, we almost lost the licensing to Single Ladies, which I think there's a lot of songs. We lost about 4 or 5 songs.
Isn't that why the Janet moment happened?
Yes, because exactly, we didn't get the Janet Jackson songs, and so we had to change that. But we had Beyonce's song "Single Ladies" has 4 publishers, and we got permission from 3 of them. But Beyonce's publisher, we didn't have an answer, and EMI that doesn't exist anymore because they were bought up by Sony. The woman called me and she said, well, I don't know. I don't think, they want a pile of money every time they license out. I don't think you're going to get this. So our lead producer called Hinton Battle, who's one of our producers, who's a 3-time Tony winner, had just been in the movie Dreamgirls with Beyonce. Mm-hmm. Bill says, Hinton, your job today as a producer is to call Beyonce and get the licensing for the show. We had it the next day.
I really love the music in it.
Yeah.
I was saying I knew all of them, even because I'm a big Billie Holiday fan. So I was singing everything. Yeah. I was trying to be quiet and not disturb the people beside me. I don't want them to say, we didn't come here to hear you. Another thing I like about the play is because I see you guys and you represent me. Let's talk a little bit about, the roles for African American women. Do you think there's enough of them? What do you think the current state is in terms of on Broadway and in New York City? We'll start with.
Well, it's an uphill battle constantly with that. As much as we're evolving and there every single day, there are Black women who are breaking barriers and doing roles on Broadway that we never in a million years thought would be open to us. But we have to stay at it. We have to keep working. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep making sure there's a place for us in this business. Ladies, I know we all have an opinion about this, so feel free to jump in whenever you want to.
I never had an opinion in my life.
But the people who have been working and who are on the forefront of getting these roles and booking these roles, we're all so happy and so thankful for them because they're just doing such a great job at representing, us and putting a place for us in this business. It's sad that we're still here and that we have to keep fighting for this, but it's a journey that we've all signed up for. This is our art and it's our love and it's what we want to do. And we're not going to let anybody stop us from putting ourselves out there and doing what we know that we're equally capable of doing.
Period.
Yeah,
she hit the nail on the head.
We touched on so many things, and one of my favorite lines was the pledge pen, my AKA pen, ski-wee, okay? And also how you touched on HBCUs. One of the characters went to Spelman, but they also went to Harvard. And that's, that's a big issue with HBCU grads. People, there's a controversy about whether or not HBCUs are relevant or not, or whether or not we get a quality education. But many HBCU graduates do go to Ivy League schools. So I like the fact that you kind of put that in there very subtly. It wasn't, in your face, but it was good. But tell me a little bit about the research that you did, because there was a lot of historical facts that were thrown out there that I thought was awesome.
I felt I had to do it because I'm white. And I had been asked by some cast members of this other musical to write something like This One's for the Girls, but for us Black women, because we don't feel songs like Que Sera Sera and I Will Follow Him speak to us as Black women. And so I started working on it. I thought, well, what do I know? So I read over 100 books about African-American culture and music, and I interviewed 100 African-American women in Nashville, Tennessee, where I was living. I had a friend who arranged that for me. And then I had some friends that I hired to help me with some of the research on African-American women. And some of the lines in the musical, like the line about the hair, why can't you just accept what you have? What's with all the straight and everything? That was me asking my friend Adrienne Ewing Rausch. And the answer, well, Black women have the same relationship to hair that white women have to their weight, is what she told me. And I said, oh, I get it now. Okay. So I was naive. I had to learn a lot. I had to ask a lot of questions. And then when we workshopped it before it went up in the festival, we had 5 weeks. And we told the cast, give us your feedback. So they go, we don't really talk that way. Well, then help us to make this better. And it was a wonderful collaborative process.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it was very well done.
We made a lot of changes the first couple months of the show to get it more authentic and real. And even we've made some changes recently. The cast will go, I don't really think that line works, or we better put something in about Charlottesville. No, the show's been playing for 7 years, so we've had to make some updates where people just say that line doesn't feel good for me. So we'll talk about it, and it is a continuing collaboration.
Yeah, it was like one of the most touching moments was the whole scene about the rape. My mother's a psychologist, and she published a book that talked about issues with African American women, and it was amazing. A lot of African American women, they may not bring it to the forefront, but most of us have been molested in some way. You know, it may have been an uncle or whatever. We may push it down. Some of us push it out of our memory, but the fact that you brought it up in this play really kind of touched me. Let me see, Tyla, is there any particular scene that really kind of touched you? Maybe it's something that you could relate to with a friend or somebody in your family.
I definitely say the moment after Tyrone, when Tamika finally, gets rid of her boyfriend, and just the support of her family in that. And I think for me, when I get advice when my family gives me advice, I'm listening, but I'm not always like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I hear you, but like, let me wait a little bit. And so I think that moment for her is finally her, acknowledging that, yes, I hear you and I'm with you, and just the support that her family has with her through the whole thing. Like, they're supporting her even though she's not necessarily listening at first, but eventually
like young people do.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a very important point, that issue. Young women really need to see this, because I think that a lot of young women get their acceptance from these young men, and they allow them to treat them ways that are disrespectful.
Yes.
You think about all the reality shows on there, and I'm looking like, why are y'all fighting over this guy?
Right.
It's crazy, and it's okay to say no, and it doesnn't mean you're going to be alone for the rest of your life. It just means that you clear the path for the right person for you. So, Brittany, tell us about I wanted this to be equal opportunity interview.
A scene that I connect with, or at least touches me, is when she kind of explains to the girls that her mother was a freedom rider, and she met a very handsome African American man and fell in love with him, and ended up not being able to spend her life with him. And then Heather sings this song in the eyes of her mother, and then it blends into her own life. And obviously she's married Calvin and fallen in love with him and married into this wonderful family, and is learning about these wonderful women. But then that runs right into Strange Fruit, where that song wrecks me every night, because no matter how hard I try as a white woman, I could never, ever imagine going through what people of color go through. And that's just a fact of life. I love Heather and Roberta's relationship because they butt heads so much, being that Heather is into social work and an advocate for everyone, but at the same time, Roberta is like, no, you don't know. But they still love each other.
Yeah.
And it's a hot and cold.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the whole point I think of Beautiful at the end, because when Heather sings Beautiful, and that's a moment that I always like, when men don't change your life. Okay, I actually am pretty, especially with my upbringing. There's issues. We won't go there. but no, it's like, when Heather does sing Beautiful, right? That moment, it's a cathartic moment. It's there on purpose. It's there to, like, yeah, they've been butting heads and whatever, but it really, Roberta, I always try really hard with her to not make her angry. It's not about anger. She's never been just about anger. It's hurt. She's hurt. She's explaining. She's frustrated. But it's never just I'm angry at the world and whatever. So that moment of beautiful with Heather, that's where the catharsis comes from. Because now with everything that Roberta has just laid out over the last 90 minutes, Heather has gotten to know Roberta a little bit better. She knows where a lot of it's pulled back the layers of the onion, and she's gotten to know where some of it comes from, and that it's not just anger and whatever, and it's just okay, Roberta, stop it. You're beautiful. And that's such a great moment as well.
It definitely is. Why don't you tell our audience about the groups that you have in, or if somebody wanted to bring in a group, how would they go through that?
We have so many wonderful groups. We get sometimes 2 bus loads of women that come from Washington, D.C. or Delaware, Buffalo, New York. And we've had a lot of high school and college, male and female, come. And I was a professor, or I still am a professor, right? So I have to do a study guide, right? And but I think that's one of the strengths of the show, because how many, so there's assignments to do before the show and after, and there's all the history of it. And it makes it so I remember we had a talk back early part of the show, and the woman who was running the part of the Salvation Army educational thing came in, and she looked at the audience and she said, how many of you people know a Tamika here? We have to stand up for the Tamikas. We have to educate. We have to let these young women know. And I was like, wow, this is really. And we get groups. We had a group of tonight of birthday. The girl was 12 years old. She brought 7 of her friends. She had seen the show already, and she picked this show to bring all of her friends to. And they had so much fun. So there's an educational, but also the fun part, and that's wonderful. And groups, we love groups. Groups can get discounts, so don't want to forget that.
I'll be calling you.
Yeah. I think the educational part is so important too, because I feel like it's something that's missed now in school. And I went to an all-black private school when I was a child, and I mean, for lack of a better word, it was beat down my throat. So kids nowadays, they have no idea. They don't know anything about our African American history, from the names and everything that we went through. And I think the history portion of it is super important, even if it just touches on it, to get them thinking about it and talking about it is super important.
Well, that's really universal though, in my opinion. Some of my favorite shows are the shows that I call "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret," but I say "Are You There, audience?" is us actors, because they're so quiet. As what Anissa was saying earlier, the audience gives us energy. We feed off it. A quiet audience to us is like, are you awake? Where are we? What's going on? Is this a rehearsal? What's happening? But those audiences, a solid 9 times out of 10, are the ones that give us full-on standing ovations at the end of the show. They are absorbing. They are legit. And I've noticed the younger the audience gets, they'll be quiet in the beginning because they don't know any of that. They don't know they don't know Billie Holiday, whatever. And it's like, okay. But then they start, then they're full on auditioning when she starts singing Whitney Houston. They're singing that full voice. I know this one, and it's lovely. But they also are at the end okay, because they're literally just sitting, absorbing, And I love the universe. The word, I'm not going to get it right tonight. I love how universal that is. I love how universal that is. I mean, it really, the education factor of it is great for us and our people, but it's also great for other people to learn us and our stories, and that gives me joy. I never have a problem when there's somebody that's not black that's like, oh my God, I didn't know any of that, and Dorothy will come and tell there's these people outside that they want to meet you because they didn't know, they just didn't understand, and they've learned. They walked out of here learning. Oh, okay. The struggle is real, and that always gives me joy.
And that's what theater is supposed to be. It's just 5 actors on stage telling stories, and thankfully, this story is a fantastic story and teaches a lesson, and hopefully, the audience parts with a little more knowledge than when they came in.
Oh, that's great. So I could talk to you guys all night, but it's only a 28-minute show. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to start with Nisha. Just give the audience one sentence why you should come see it, and then we're going to end. And you will tell people where to get tickets and other information. So Nisha, why don't you start?
I think the audience should come see this show because it's you. And I don't know what you look like. I don't know where you're from. I don't know who your parents are, where your family is. I don't know anything about you, but I know the show is you. I know the show will speak to you, and I know you will take something from it.
I'm gonna hop right on that. That's words. That's exactly what I would have said. Come hear our story. Come connect with us and have some fun.
Have some fun, and be unapologetically yourself along with us. We invite you.
Come see the show. There's absolutely, I tell the audience members at the end all the time, there's absolutely nothing else like this right now that's going on. This is our story, and it's our story to tell, and we have to continue to tell it so people can continue to hear it. And we need some place for us to go to just love and have a good time. And I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but again, there's nothing else like this, and we need to keep shows like this running because this is a beautiful story that everyone needs to hear.
I think this show is art, and art imitates life, and this show is just amazing, and it's just great. Just go see it. It's great.
Some people, we have quite a few people who've seen the show 9-10 times. I had last month a white woman came up to me. She said, "This is my third time, and I brought these friends." And then this African American man came to me and said, "This is my 9th time, and I'm running out of people to bring." So how do you find tickets? So the best thing is to go onto our website, sistasthemusical.com. It'll say buy tickets. You can go there. You can also go to telecharge. And don't be daunted if it says, "Oh, the show's closing in 3 months." That only means we haven't opened the ticket sales up. We've been playing for over 7 years, and as long as we keep selling tickets, we'll still be here.
Oh, that's great. Well, you ladies were amazing.
Thank you. You can follow us on Instagram at Sistas NYC and on Facebook and on Twitter. Sistas NYC.
So everyone, I encourage you to support Sistas the Musical. We're going to put on the screen again all their social media information, the website, and how you can get tickets. Until next week, consider yourself Blacklit. Thank you.